Hey guys, YouTuber Armhunted here. Alright, now here I am with another Nickelodeon Christmas special review. And now next up for my next review, this is going to be a review for the Rocket Power Christmas special, A Rocket Xmas. So this special, this first aired in 2003 during the last season of the show. Yeah. And to my knowledge, I don't think I ever did actually watch this special before. Like, I don't remember ever actually seeing this episode before. So I really don't have didn't really have any memory of this special at all. But yeah, I did just watch it just now to make this review, and yeah, and I gotta say, I thought that this really was a pretty good Christmas special. Yeah. So I've never really actually talked about Rocket Power before. I've talked about a lot of other Nickelodeon shows before, but I've never actually really talked about Rocket Power before. And I really did like Rocket Power. Rocket Power really was like a really enjoyable show. I really did like it. I mean, I kind of like seen it get like some mixed reactions from some people. I've seen like people like me that really do like it. I've also seen some people saying that they really didn't like the show. I've even seen the show on some worst Nickelodeon shows list, which I really don't understand. I really don't see how anybody can really say Rocket Power is one of Nickelodeon's worst shows, because that's not the case at all. So I don't know what those kind of people are thinking. But yeah, I really did like Rocket Power growing up. Yeah, I really would watch it like all the time. Yeah, Rocket Power really was like a pretty awesome show. It really did like feature four kids that really just like were really into skating and stuff. And yeah, and they would really like always really be into that kind of stuff. And yeah, and the main kid of the group, Otto, like he was like, of course, the one that really was always kind of like a daredevil, always really like wanting to really just like be really great at doing the stuff that he does, like always being like a great skateboarder and stuff. Yeah, and Rocket Power really was like a really awesome show. Like, of course, like the four kids were Otto, Reggie, Twister, and Sammy. Yeah, and of course, like there was also Otto and Reggie's dad Raimundo, along with his business partner and best friend Tito. Yeah, and I really did like what Rocket Power did. Like, you really had like you got like pretty much like all the essentials for like the group of kids. Like, you got like the Daredevil with Otto. You have kind of like the the one that really is like more of like a in good spirits, Reggie. You got the one that's also like, have like Twister, who's kind of like by Otto's side, all while also being like kind of an idiot, and then you got Sam, who's kind of like the more of like the geek of the group. Yeah, so you really do have like pretty much like all the essentials for like this kind of group. And I really did like Rocket Power. Yeah, and of course, like it really did have like the very catchy theme song as well. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Like, yeah, the theme song is real catchy. Yeah, and of course, this show was also like from Klasky Supo, who also like was the animation team for Rugrats, as well as like other Nickelodeon shows. They also like were. This was also the animation team that did like shows like Real Monsters and The Wild Thornberries, and even As Told by Ginger. So they did do quite a lot of Nickelodeon shows. So really did like Rocket Power. Yeah, and like I said, this like was during like the fourth and final season of the show. And overall, I did like this special. I mean, it does tell like a pretty simple story for it. The story for the special is that it is of course like Christmas time, and then when Otto and Reggie see that Raimundo like has his eyes set on this really nice longboard, or but it's too expensive for him. Otto and Red. Otto and Reggie, they decide to try to raise some money so they can buy it for Raimundo for Christmas, and so they come up with the idea that they can walk various people's dogs and be paid for it, so they can get the money to actually buy the longboard for Raimundo for Christmas. And of course, like they enlist the help of Twister and Sammy to walk the dogs to get the money as well. Yeah, and that pretty much is like what the special really is set around. It really is just set around like them really trying to get the money to buy the longboard for Raymundo. And there's also like some other stuff that goes on in this episode as well. Like there's like this like bit throughout the episode where like Raymundo is really like always is like setting up these like really kind of like these weird sort of Christmas traditions in the Rocket family, and it shows how like Otto and Reggie really are not into like Raymundo's traditions because they really like growing out of them because like his traditions are really like for like little kids, and so yeah, Otto and Reggie really are not into it with all the stuff that Raymundo does. Yeah, yeah, and that really just does become kind of like a running gag throughout this special until we get to the end, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, so that really does go on throughout this special with stuff with like a Raimundo really is like setting up for stuff like making paper chains and like having like some parties and sitting down to sing Christmas carols and watching like this like a kitty Christmas special and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, and it shows how of course like Otto and Reggie really are not into it, so they try to talk to Raimundo to really like find a way out of actually doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then eventually like when Raimundo discovers that Otto and Reggie really are not into the traditions, then that's when takes a sort of like a different turn with it, and Raimundo really just says how how he how he really does not sorry, yeah, how he's really like annoyed with them saying how like they want to like give a rest for like these like silly Christmas traditions. Yeah, and like he's really not happy about it. Yeah, and yeah, and there's of course like another story, like side story in this episode where Tito really is trying to be like a like work as being a department store Santa among like many others hers in hopes of like being the official Santa Claus of this an upcoming um ball. But then it eventually shows how Tito loses the position to someone else, and then it shows how Tito really is unhappy about it, and he later expresses how he really did want to continue the tradition in his family of being Santa's helper. So yeah, so yeah, so it really shows how Tito is kind of in a similar position that Raimundo is with the traditions in this episode as well. Yeah, yeah, but then Raimundo eventually expresses that he just wants some Otto and Reggie to really understand what's really important. Yeah. So yeah, so those are really the three main story arcs that are in this episode. Yeah, and I think all three of them are done pretty well. I do like how it does with Otto and Reggie really trying to raise the money to get the longboard for Raimundo for Christmas. I do like that they did that. And yeah, as well as how Tito really does want to be a department store Santa, and then eventually then it's a Tito does eventually help the kids in their predicament because the kids end up actually end up one of the dogs they end up taking into walk is actually Tito's dog. Yeah, and then Tito does learn what the kids are really up to and how they're in a position where they really have to hurry to get the money to get the longboard for Raimundo. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, Tito does end up helping the kids get their dog duties done to receive the money to buy Raimundo the the longboard. Yeah, heard you. Yeah, and then then it just does show how at one point as Otto and Reggie are really really trying to hurry when Christmas Eve does arrive to gather up all the money to get the board because it's Reggie explains how due to an incident with one of the dogs they ended up Reggie ended up having to pay half of the earnings because of an incident. And then as Otto and Reggie eventually end up like uh passing through several houses with other families enjoying Christmas together, like Raymundo wanted to do with them. They then see houses watching the special that Raymundo wanted to watch with the kids, and then that's when they feel guilty, and so then they then decided that they do want to actually spend a Christmas with their father. And then and then as it's approaching the time when the store that had the longboard was about to close, then Otto and Reggie really had to race to get the dogs back to their owners to get paid the money. Then Otto ended up running into a detour when Twister's older brother Lars and his gang ended up challenging Otto to a dog walking race, and then Otto then just pretty much was forced into accepting the challenge, and then they ended up just crashing and then scattered. Well, the dogs ended up getting loose and scattered around, and then Otto and Reggie then had to really gather all the dogs back, and then with help from Sam, who then revealed that he did actually install tracking devices in each of the dogs. Otto, Reggie, and Twister then were able to gather up all the dogs, and then then as I said, Tito did end up helping them to get all the dogs back to their owners by getting all the owners at the uh, shop where the board was, so they could just bring the dogs there and get their money. And then Otto and Reggie then were able to then uh, get the board before the store closed. And then and then impressed by Tito's work, Tito Lieutenant Tice, who you guys may know if you know Rocket Power, he's the lifeguard that is always like well, he is a lieutenant, and so he's always being really rough and stuff. He then let Tito be the Santa for the ball after all. Yeah, and then the end is where it does get kind of different, where it really does become more touching when Otto and Reggie then arrived home wanting to celebrate Christmas with Raymundo. Raymundo then was telling Otto and Reggie how the reason that he's doing all these traditions was in honor of his wife. And Raymundo explained how his wife loved doing all the traditions that Raymundo does when they were little. And then but what really mattered to her really was that they kept spending time as a family. So yeah, so that was the reason why Raymundo was doing all this stuff for to celebrate with Otto and Reggie. And of course the mother was not in the show. Of course it like of course she was really she's really been presumed dead since before the events of the show actually did start. So the mother was just gone. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, and then after Otto and Reggie then gave the longboard to Raymundo, he then had a pair of gifts for them as well, and mm, the plan was really to give the kids these gifts when they were older enough for them. And it was showing how there were some heirlooms from their mother. Raimundo gave Otto a Spanish gold coin that she found on a scuba expedition in a wreck off the coast of Barbados, and Reggie was given a music box that their mother won in a women's surfing contest. And it showed how Otto and Reggie really were touched with the gifts, and you can even see Reggie tearing up at one point. And then Raimundo then just decided it was time for a new Christmas tradition, and then the special then ended showing Otto, Reggie, and Raimundo surfing on Raimundo's longboard. And that's how the special ended. So yeah, so overall, I really did enjoy it. Like I really did like the three stories that this special did tell. I did like how it it had Otto and Reggie really working together to come up with the money to buy Raimundo a gift. If I did like the one with Raimundo with Tito really wanting to become the Santa, and he does. And the story with like the Christmas traditions, like it admittedly is pretty silly, but yeah, it does like all come together in the end with like what I was just talking about with it being in honor of the mother and everything. So yeah, so it does get really touching. So I really do think that that story does work due to that. I do find this to be a pretty good special. If you do like Rocket Power, and if you haven't seen this before, I would recommend checking it out. It is overall a pretty enjoyable special for Christmas for Rocket Power. All right, so I guess that's the best way I can put it. If you like Rocket Power, give it a watch if you haven't seen it before. All right, so I guess that's the best I can put it. So I guess that's all I really have to say about it. All right, so I guess that does it for my review of the Rocket Power Christmas special, a Rocket Xmas. So like I said, if you haven't seen it before, give it a watch, especially if you're a Rocket Power fan. All right, so I guess that's all I really have to say about it. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And just to like as a final message in this video, like I said in my last video, how like we'd be starting the moving process this weekend. Well, there's been a little bit of a delay to that because we were gonna go in yesterday to like make a payment, but yeah, the office was closed, so we have to wait until at least Monday to now do that stuff. So the moving has been a little bit delayed. So I may have like a few more videos here before we officially do move. All right, so I just want to give you guys an update on that real quick. All right, but that does it for this review. So I hope you guys enjoy and stay tuned for more Nickelodeon Christmas special reviews coming up. All right, so hope you guys enjoy this one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.